This is the hard truth about healthy relationships and how they look and feel. I am a certified relationship coach, and let me tell you, they are not easy.
Being in a healthy relationship is uncomfortable if you're used to the dynamic of toxic relationships.
And the reason I say this is because a lot of times people are traumatized from previous experiences, so they automatically have in their head that they are not worthy of people sticking around or that they're not worthy of love.
What no one prepares you for is how much crying you're gonna do when you're finally in a healthy relationship.
To be prepared to be the problem. Because if you've been in unhealthy relationships before, if that's your norm, then you're probably used to other people not meeting your needs or other people doing something wrong.
So no one ever told me that I would have a hard time committing to people who were actually trustworthy and who were showing me lots of green flags.
In a bad relationship, you often lose yourself in the dramas and the highs and lows. In a good relationship, you're forced to face yourself.
So you think you know what a healthy relationship looks like? Think again. It's not just heart emojis, matching outfits, and Sunday brunch selfies. Yeah, no one told you that part, huh? But don't worry, boo, I got you. Smash that subscribe button, because we're keeping it real, raw, and just a little bit ridiculous.
Being in a healthy relationship is uncomfortable if you're used to the dynamic of toxic relationships. If you don't know what healthy love looks like and you're not used to a healthy relationship, you're gonna feel like you don't know what you're doing. You're gonna start feeling like you're the toxic one, that maybe you need help. That's true, and it's okay to seek help. Just because the relationship is healthy doesn't mean that you're comfortable and it's easy. Remember, you are comfortable with what you're familiar with. If you're only familiar with a toxic relationship dynamic, this might feel a little bit awkward. You might be embarrassed to share and be vulnerable all of a sudden because you're not used to it. It may be hard for you to set boundaries, and it might be hard for you to ask for what you want and what you need without feeling guilt or shame. That is part of the process of learning to be in a healthy relationship. And as you continue to grow and get used to that dynamic, it's gonna start feeling more comfortable and less awkward. In order to get to that stage from where you're at right now, you need to remember to give yourself grace, compassion, and step out of your comfort zone constantly. Of course, with the right partner who is patient and willing to grow and learn with you, they're going to be by your side. You're not going to feel lonely like you're talking to a wall. Instead, you're going to learn to be vulnerable and set boundaries with someone who loves you. Someone who is patient and kind with you is not going to run after they see one flaw. So even though it might be uncomfortable at first and we might need to relearn the things that we once thought were true, it's going to be worth it. Because you'll feel a lot more at peace. You'll feel like there's someone actually by your side, and you won't be lonely even when you're not alone. Well, for more, and as always, you got this.
This is the hard truth about healthy relationships and how they look and feel. I am a certified relationship coach, and let me tell you, they are not easy. I have also been with my partner for 10 years, and we have had high moments, low moments, chaos, beautiful moments, and it's been a crazy roller coaster. Most times in relationships, we give up after the honeymoon phase. Meaning that when the passion is gone or the beautiful butterflies are gone and you start to have to really have those hard conversations and go deeper, we just start giving up. And we assume that we are with the wrong person. But healthy relationships are so much more than just picking the wrong person. Healthy relationships require you to have those hard conversations. They require you to build trust, and they require you to heal from your past trauma or experiences as an individual and as a couple. And the reason why most relationships don't make it is because a lot of people are not willing to have those hard conversations. And a lot of people are not self-aware enough to know what it takes to put in the work to actually heal from your past trauma. And actually put in the work to move forward from whatever is holding you back. And most of the time, it is your past that is holding you back from moving forward. But healthy relationships are full of amazing moments. They're also full of really, really hard moments. And they have the potential to turn into something amazing if you actually show up and put in the work that is required of you.
What no one prepares you for is how much crying you're gonna do when you're finally in a healthy relationship. I was single for like 10 years of my life, and I was dating around, and like I had situationships, I fell in love, got my heart broken, whatever. But I never had anyone consistent for longer than a couple months. So now I'm in a healthy relationship, and I am having a hard time. Like the actual panic and trust issues that are coming up for me of having to allow someone to be in my life and to trust them with my feelings, my emotions, my traumas, all of it is difficult. And so much advice online is saying like, oh, the beginning of a relationship should be really easy. It should be smooth sailing. You shouldn't be having problems. It should be honeymoon phase, etc. But if you're someone that has trauma, PTSD, a history of toxic relationships, a healthy relationship is going to be very difficult for you. But the difference between that and the pain of a toxic relationship is that you are actually healing. Like that intensity and emotion that you're feeling is you learning to open up again and open your heart and trust someone again. And that is a practice. Like it will not happen overnight. So if you're experiencing kind of the intensity of like letting someone in for the first time in a long time, you are not alone. This is a normal experience and it won't last forever. I hope.
I think something that we don't really discuss a lot when we're talking about healthy relationships is if that is your first healthy relationship that you've been in, then you are going to somewhat self-sabotage yourself, and I'm about to explain why. It's like somebody that ain't ever had a good dude before. Like, they're not going to know what they have until it's gone most of the time. Same essence of when you get your first bag of some money, right? You get your first lump sum of money, and now you feel like you're Bill Gates, and then you lose it, and you realize real quick that you're not Bill Gates. And the reason I say this is because a lot of times people are traumatized from previous experiences, so they automatically have in their head that they are not worthy of people sticking around or that they're not worthy of love. Therefore, they're always operating with their guard up, so they are never allowing themselves to operate unapologetically in the essence of love. Love is one of those things where you have to be vulnerable enough to fall face first if it doesn't work out, but you have enough faith in that dynamic to know it will work out. And because of that, oftentimes in friendships, relationships, you will meet these people that overthink themselves into the worst scenarios and just automatically question the good people in their life that show their loyalty through so many different actions, but just aren't showing up in every single category possible, so therefore it leads them to think that they're not really there for them. And I do believe that people have to fumble at least one good person to really get it through their head that everybody is not out to get them when they do have this survival type mindset, because they are so used to people crossing them.
The thing that's not talked about with good relationships is that they don't always feel good, but not for the same reasons that a bad relationship feels bad. In a bad relationship, you often lose yourself in the dramas and the highs and lows. In a good relationship, you're forced to face yourself. You don't have the distractions from your own shadows. You have the safety and security to face your ultimate battles. And many times that can feel really hard and very uncomfortable. In bad relationships, you're held back against your will. In good ones, you're forced to grow.
Here are 5 things no one ever told me about being in healthy relationships after a history of toxic, unhealthy, dysfunctional, or abusive relationships. I'm Emmy. I'm a certified trauma-informed coach as well as a abuse survivor, and I am here to help as many people as I can have thriving relationships after trauma, so let's get into it. So no one ever told me that I would have a hard time committing to people who were actually trustworthy and who were showing me lots of green flags versus I would throw myself at and attach to people who had done absolutely nothing to earn my trust or attachment. No one ever told me that even though I logically wanted a healthy, safe, supportive relationship, I would be much more attractive to patterns of high highs, low lows, chaos, and dysfunction. No one ever told me that ignoring or pretending the past abuse that I went through wasn't a big deal would not help me whatsoever to move forward from it. No one ever told me that I'm worthy of a secure relationship, and it's possible to create a secure relationship even if you don't have a secure attachment style. And no one ever told me that breaking the cycle of trauma and abuse would be really difficult, and it wouldn't be something to undergo lightly or think it's no big deal, but all that work that you put into it does pay off, and it is absolutely worth it to have those healthy relationships that lift you up when you've had a history of really painful relationships. Was any of this something that you needed to hear? Let me know in the comments.
Something nobody warns you about when you get into a healthy relationship is that you have to be prepared to be the problem. Because if you've been in unhealthy relationships before, if that's your norm, then you're probably used to other people not meeting your needs or other people doing something wrong. Or at least maybe the things that they're doing are bad enough that everything bad that you're doing is overshadowed. It almost takes the pressure off, which is why I've seen a lot of people strategically choose bad relationships, because it is easier to have a villain than to think about the ways that you might be the villain. But when you get in a healthy relationship, all of a sudden, you have to change too. You're gonna realize that you probably do more inconsiderate things than you know. So in a way, it's harder because you don't just get to be a victim. You're gonna be the problem half the time and be the person who has to fix it, who has to be better. And so it can be kind of annoying because you're actually forced to grow. It's just kind of funny to be put in a position where you're forced to realize like, oh shit, I'm the problem now. I'm the person who needs to work on better meeting my partner's needs. It takes less effort to hope for someone to change than to have to look at yourself to realize you're the villain in this scenario and you're the one who has to change.
3 things that no one ever told you about healthy love and healthy relationships. And my name is Christina. I am a certified dating and relationship coach. So the first thing that no one really tells us is that healthy love doesn't look like the movies. To be honest, I think that it's better. But it's also a little bit more work than it is portrayed. Because one, healthy love doesn't always feel exciting. Stability is a good thing. Safety is a good thing, but that stability can feel calm. And it can be perceived as boring sometimes. But that is a good thing. We like boring. We like peace. We like calm. So if you're used to chaos, don't be afraid of the safety. Don't be afraid of the stability. Don't be afraid of the peace. It's a good sign. Number 2, love isn't just all about the grand gestures. It truly is about the small things done consistently and the consistent effort. Even on the days that you don't feel like showing up, you still show up. And you keep those promises no matter what. Number 3, triggers will still come to the surface. Even if you are in the healthiest of relationships, you will still be triggered. But the difference in a healthy relationship versus an unhealthy one is that your partner will help you feel safe when you are triggered and help you work through those triggers instead of making you feel bad or guilty about them. They will support you. They will hold space for you. And they will remain curious and open to creating that beautiful, safe space that you need for a healthy relationship. And if you feel like you have some things from your past that maybe you're bringing into your present, that's okay, but you got to do something about it. You can't keep letting that happen. So if you have unhealthy relationship patterns or something that's just keeping you stuck and triggered all of the time and you're not really doing a good job navigating your triggers, apply to work with me. I have 3 spots open for my private VIP coaching program, and we can get you there together to a place where you are not letting your past predict your future and disturb your present.
I figured it out. I know why so many people are in healthy relationships thinking that there is something wrong, developing relationship anxiety because although they're with a good person who they love, they feel like they're missing out on something. This is because our society drives home the point that you should never be disappointed and that you should get what you want at a snap of a finger, at the click of a button. So then when you realize that you are with an imperfect human who has flaws, who has challenges of his own, whenever he messes up or disappoints you or doesn't live up to your standards, you think that that means you have to leave. When in reality, disappointment is a normal part of every single relationship you have. Not just romantic relationships, every relationship. Because you're not in a relationship with a robot, with an AI version of the person that you're with. You're in a relationship with a real human being who has different sides of their personality, a different upbringing, different moods. And I don't think enough people understand that. They expect to be with this perfect robot who is like a genie in a bottle, like your wish is my command. And yes, it is so important to learn and grow together and learn how to make the other person feel fulfilled in the relationship for sure, but it is a learning curve. There will be disappointments, there will be ups and downs, and your main happiness should be coming from within you, not from your partner. Follow for more help with relationship anxiety. I love you guys.
This is the hard truth about healthy relationships and how they look and feel. And I'm a certified relationship coach, and let me tell you, they're not easy. Most times in relationships, we give up after the honeymoon phase when things start to feel really hard. Meaning, the minute that the passion is gone, the beautiful butterflies are gone, and you start to have those really hard conversations, we just assume that we're with the wrong person. But healthy relationships are so much more than just picking the wrong person. Healthy relationships require you to have those hard conversations. They require you to build trust, and they require you to heal your trauma as an individual and heal anything you may have gone through together as a couple. The reason why most relationships don't make it is because you're not willing and open to have those hard conversations. You're not willing and open to heal your trauma and to move forward from whatever is holding you back from your past. Healthy relationships are full of amazing moments, but they're also full of really hard moments.
The reality of healthy long-term relationships. There are going to be times where your partner is not going to show up the way that you want it, and you're going to feel neglected or unloved or unappreciated. This isn't for me to say that you should just accept it, but it's for me to say that even healthy couples will have times where they subconsciously are going through a lot and they forget to show up for you. Or they think they're showing up for you in a different way, but really what you need is something else. This isn't to look at your relationship and say it's not healthy because they don't care about me and they don't love me and other people do it. The difference is that healthy couples, when they go through this, find ways to communicate it with each other and work through it. It doesn't end up being a tit for tat of, well, you did this and you didn't do this, or the other person feeling like they have to defend themselves. They lean into accepting where they went wrong and work together as a team to make that communication better.
They don't tell you this about relationships, but the partner that you find yourself falling in love with the most and most attracted to, they will represent all the suppressed parts within you, the parts that you wish were stronger, the parts that you judge or are ashamed of. So if you're quiet and emotionally detached, you're going to attract a partner who is going to be very emotional and expressive. If you're sexually repressed, you might attract a partner that is very sexually open. If you have a hard time asking for help, your partner will seem to be asking for help all the time. If you have a tendency to be clingy and needy, your partner will be more avoidant and independent. If one partner is controlling and demanding, the other partner will be more submissive and pleasing. When you can start to see this cosmic effect at play, this polarity of life, it becomes harder to judge it. It is literally the nature of energy expressing itself all around us, like a negative and positive charge. The problem comes in when we resist the effect, when we judge it, which comes from unresolved childhood trauma. These traumas cause these polarities to become more extreme, more out of balance, and more stuck. This is where we have unnecessary suffering coming into the picture. But when we begin to heal, the polarity or differences between you and your partner start to balance out into a more harmonious dance, which is a journey that I guide clients through. If you want to begin healing, visit my profile to work with me or just follow me for more content.
Here's a relationship paradox that if you don't understand, you're going to fuck it all up. Every single healthy relationship that exists has reciprocation baked into it. But if you expect reciprocation, if you try to force reciprocation in your relationship, it is not a healthy one. You need to give freely and pour into that relationship without expectation that there's going to be anything returned to you. Because I know how the internet works and how my comment section seems to go, there's going to be some guys that hop into the comments and say something like, so you're saying I should give everything to my wife, my time, my energy, my everything, and if she gives me nothing in return, I should just accept that. No, you knucklehead. What I am saying is give everything freely without any expectation and observe the behavior of the partner that you're with, because the right person is going to give you the same energy back freely, just as you gave it to them.
I am in one of the healthiest relationships I have ever been in. But that does not mean that I do not get triggered. Because I think the healthiest relationships will trigger you. Relationships will in general. And what makes it healthy is how you respond to those triggers, how you communicate to your partner about those triggers, and how open and receptive the other person and yourself is in the relationship. And I have never been in a relationship that is so full of healthy communication and openness and honesty and vulnerability, and that's what makes it healthy. And seeing us navigate this together is what makes it so beautiful.
5 signs you're in a healthy relationship. I have been in both very healthy and very toxic relationships, and they're extremely different feelings. Let's get into it. Number 1, when you share with your friends and family about this person, you aren't having to leave out details of stories or situations in fear of their judgment of you or your partner, because you know that they would tell you this person's not right for you. If you can tell the stories in full, you're excited to share, a really good sign, green flag. Number 2, you feel your physical body being relaxed around this person. You may even get a little sleepy, a little tired, just because you feel happy and you feel safe. That's typically what that means. It's a really, really good feeling. Number 3, they validate you and your feelings. Even when you don't necessarily agree, they still hear you out. You guys can have a mature and adult conversation with some good communication without things taking a negative turn.
4, you don't find yourself constantly having to ask for validation or asking for what you need or feeling like what you need is not being met or what you need is too much. It's just met. Number 5, you are still you. What do I mean by this? You still have your hobbies. You still have a life. You maintain your friendships. There is some sort of a balance to the ecosystem of your life. This one is huge and massively important. Also really important for the longevity of a relationship. Again, I could go on for days on this one, so follow me for more videos like this and let me know if you want a part 2.
A healthy relationship is going to require both of you to realize that you're going to make mistakes. When your partner is telling you how they feel about something and you know it's something that you need to work on, instead of throwing it back onto them and telling them something that they're doing wrong, listen to them, ask questions, get engaged, get curious about how it affects them and how they're feeling. Instead of, oh yeah, I did this, but you're doing this and you're doing that. Because they're going to have a hard time understanding what you're bringing up that you're bothered with, because all they're thinking about is what's bothering them. So even if they did something that hurt you or affected you in some way, they're emotionally charged. You have to accept how they're feeling first, and then at a different time, express how you're feeling. You just never want to do it when they're telling you how they feel, so that you could throw it back onto them and tell them something that they're doing wrong.
You think that not arguing means you have a healthy relationship? I used to think that my wife and I had a solid relationship because we weren't fighting. But now I know that our lack of arguing was really just our fear of being honest and vulnerable with one another. My avoidant attachment mindset allows me to compartmentalize easily, so I wouldn't talk about things that were bothering me, big or small. I was easygoing and didn't want to stir up any tension for fear of feeling any negative emotions. My wife has a more anxious attachment style, and it's caused her to accidentally place too much of her identity in the marriage, so she didn't bring up things either. She feared the tension because, in her mind, an argument could possibly be the end of the relationship. So we didn't fight much for the first couple of years, which seemed good at the time, but now I know we weren't truly intimate either. We didn't really know one another. So when we faced real difficulties, that empty connection we had been experiencing was revealed, and it left us without much understanding, respect, or admiration to get us through. We basically had to start from square one years into our relationship because we didn't start with vulnerability from the beginning. What I learned from this was to voice my frustrations, concerns, hurts, and self-doubts, and to try to do it quickly before I tell myself that it's not a big deal. Now we understand that our arguments lead us to knowing one another, and we use them as opportunities for connection.